Welcome back. Britain is becoming an anti-white country. Anti-white racism is on the rise. It's OK to call a police officer stupid and white, as Chelsea footballer Sam Kerr did.
Honestly, you guys are stupid and white.
OK.
I'm looking you in the eyes.
Why are you
I'm looking you in the
racist?
eyes. Like that stupid.
It's OK to ban white people from applying for certain jobs. We've seen it at the BBC and other places. Only ethnic minorities could apply for a job on Springwatch, for example, amongst other roles. The Royal Air Force unlawfully discriminated against white men. They banned them from becoming pilots. 2 weeks ago, Westminster Council made employees take a white privilege test, which gave you a score of plus 15 if you happen to be, you guessed it, a white man. Well, last week, we got West Yorkshire Police blocking white people from applying to be police officers in a bid to boost diversity. Then today, two big stories emerged. The Welsh Labour government wants Wales to become an anti-racist nation by 2030. I mean, how are they going to go about doing that, eh? Are they giving ethnic minority student teachers £5,000 more? That is racism. The 2021 census found that 93.8% of the Welsh population identified as white, just FYI. Then there's this. The NHS is now racist. One of the big arguments for mass immigration is, look how many ethnic minorities work in our beloved NHS. And that's great. Thank you very much for everybody who works in the NHS. But now it turns out that the NHS has been discriminating against white people by bumping black and other ethnic minority candidates to the top of the job interview lists. In some cases, NHS managers have had to justify why they've hired white people. Just let that sink in. You go to a meeting and you have to justify why you've hired a white person, OK? You don't solve racism with more racism. In fact, it makes it worse. Do we want a society where white people, especially straight white men, have to be twice as good as ethnic minority candidates just to get a job? Do we really want ethnic minorities feeling like they've only got a job because of the colour of their skin rather than the content of their characters or their genuine quality? I don't think there's a big problem with racism in Britain. I just don't. I don't think that loads of white people are racist. I do think that the Pakistani rape gangs were racist. I think they targeted young white girls because they thought that they were lesser than girls from their own community. But even if people do think loads of white people are racist, do you not think that being racist towards them, blocking them from applying for certain jobs, denying them career progression, or paying them less than their black or brown counterparts might actually make them a bit more racist? I think it's completely self-defeating. Let's whiz ourselves over, get the thoughts of my panel.
Us blokes hate talking about a little thinning up top, and many of us settle with that balding look, but that wasn't for me. And that's why I went to Elite Hair, the world's leading hair loss clinic, and now I've had over 4,000 new hairs added to this barnet, and very soon I'm going to be rocking some brand new flowing locks. And you can too. So how does it work? Step 1, I sent the team a set of photos of my head. Step 2, I then spoke to one of the Elite Hair staff who looked through my photo submissions and worked out a treatment plan for me. Step 3, Elite Hair then organised accommodation and the treatment. I was at their state-of-the-art treatment centre in Istanbul, and their incredibly kind staff took me through the process, and before I knew it, I was in surgery. Elite Hair and their leading medical experts have specialised in pain-free treatments using the sleep deep method, and they really mean that. I felt incredibly relaxed the whole time, and I haven't felt any pain since. Check out Elite Hair using the link in the description. When you do, Elite Hair will provide you with a free personalised hair analysis. Then you'll join over 100,000 happy patients. Hit that link and start your hair growth journey like I did today.
We've been sitting patiently tonight. We have got Daily Express columnist Carol Malone, we've got journalist Benjamin Butterworth, and we have got former chairman of the Tory party, Sir Jake Berry. Carol, are we now an anti-white country?
I think the thing, some of the examples you read out there would say exactly we were. We know that the RAF is, we've heard about that, the NHS is, schools are. I think the BBC, do you remember back in 2018 that the boss of the then BBC 4 said no one wanted to listen to white men explaining things anymore? And I remember hearing that and thinking, God, but that's kind of...
What was he? Was he a white man explaining?
Yes.
Why no one wanted to listen to white men explaining?
He was a middle-aged white man saying exactly that. And it is terrifying, that the stuff about West York's police last week shocked me to my core, because what that guy did, the head of the force, John Robbins, that is racism in its purest form. You remember the time, you won't remember, but I remember my parents lived in the days when you'd have signs in windows, no blacks allowed, no Irish allowed. We're back to that now with white, because West York's police didn't have a sign in the window, but they might as well have said no whites allowed. And what really shocked me about them, they have a 3-tier system in West Yorks. They have a gold, a silver and a bronze.
Yes.
And guess where white people come? We're the bronze. And we're lumped with, quote, other whites.
Well, we've got the NHS and now Welsh Labour with the education system there. I mean, I find that astonishing. So if you happen to be of an ethnic minority community and you're a student teacher in Wales, you get paid £5,000 more than if you're a white student teacher. But surely you can't justify that, Benjamin.
Well, the whole goal of this is to try and level the playing field. I think the way you interpret this is completely warped. The fact is, and you would only have to ask a great many black and ethnic minority people in this country whether they felt they had to work harder to get top jobs to be taken seriously. And they would say yes, that the bar has been higher historically because of institutional racism. We've seen it in the police force. There have been lots of reviews of individual police forces that have found direct examples of behaviour that is completely unacceptable. And how do you overcome that? What is that going to do to ethnic minorities in this country?
Do you overcome that with more racism?
You come it by changing the playing field so that those people get opportunities.
How can you level the playing field when this is an 82% white population? You are never going to level the playing field.
It's about leveling the playing field of people feeling they can get far and being able to achieve their potential. And any black person in this country, I suspect, whether they're right or left wing, would tell you that they think they've faced barriers that weren't reasonable.
But he's right, so how do you...
So the first thing is, what do all these bodies have in common? They're all public sector, including the BBC, which is our state broadcaster. No one in the private sector would ever want to see anyone get a job or not get a job other than by merit. We have this ultra-woke agenda across the entirety of the public sector that no one voted for, no one wants. When people find out about it, they're absolutely outraged by it, being pushed by these senior, highly paid civil service servants who have no connection whatsoever with the British blue-collar worker who just sees this and they're absolutely appalled by it. And what I would say to that highly paid Chief Constable of West Yorkshire with his salary in 6 figures and a gold-plated final salary pension and a car and a driver, if he cares so much about people of colour getting jobs in the police force, why doesn't he step aside and allow someone to take his job? He doesn't want that. He wants everyone beneath him to have to abide by his ultra-woke agenda. It is an absolute disgrace. And the final point I would make is that everyone in West Yorkshire has received their council tax bill in the last fortnight. They will have seen that the cost of your local authority has gone up, the cost of your fire service has gone up, and the cost of your police service has gone up. We are paying for this. We don't want it. It's an absolute disgrace.
Yeah, okay.
The reason John Robbins shouldn't be in charge of West York's police is that he actually believes that only black and brown coppers can deal with black and brown criminals. It's a nonsense. It's a nonsense idea.
I think
it's a racist idea.
I also feel as though there's the bigotry of low expectations going on here yet again by people who are very often white and very often middle or upper middle class or whatever, where they feel as though inherently, because someone happens to look a certain way, that they have faced some kind of barrier or disadvantage or that they need a helping hand. And I actually know a lot of people who are ethnic minorities who think that's incredibly patronising and they don't particularly like that idea. But Benjamin, just to say, so Wales as a whole, as a country, or at least their Labour government, want them to be classed as an anti-white country by 2030.
Anti-racist.
Well, anti-white, sorry. Yeah, anti-racist. Sorry, Freudian slip. There we go. I have to apologise now to the entirety of Wales. Sorry about that. As an anti-racist country by 2030. What does that even look like? How does that even get... How do we decide? Do we wake up? You know, it's New Year's Day in 2030. We go, right, that's it, job done. Wales is now anti-racist. So what does that look like?
But it's about removing the institutional barriers, the kind of prejudices that people hold. You know, you can't be what you can't see. And that's one of the things that these kind of programmes try to change, to encourage people from these backgrounds to be able to get into senior positions so they could be the head of West Yorkshire Police.
Barriers have been ripped down for years now. They've been being ripped down every day.
You think we've already got to 2030 and there are no problems?
And don't you think...
Did you wake up on New Year and think, oh, we've solved it?
You don't get it.
Racism's over.
People out there don't care about the person of a colour.
Well, Benjamin, could you...
Let me finish the point. As long as they do their job properly. And that hasn't been happening with the coppers, that's for sure. because they've been employing substandard people who have failed the test but get through anyway on the colour of their skin.
Right, very, very.
And could you imagine this the other way around? You imagine if an area said, we are not accepting applications from black or ethnic minority people, we'd be up in arms. Watching sauce for the goose. It's not fundamentally, it's exactly the same, because that's what they've said in West Yorkshire.
All right,
it's exactly the same.
It's not, because
we're going to have to move on.
institutional racist against
we've got to get...
Oh, institutional racism. Institutions cannot be racist.
We are also delighted to announce that our very own Charlie Peters has been nominated for Best News Presenter category. Well done, Charlie. Please go and vote there. I think there's a QR code on your screen now. Go on, give Charlie Peters the respect that he deserves.